Hi, everyone. It's Melanie Warner here with Defining Moments. Thank you for joining us today. Our guest today, her name is Sheila Carmichael. I want to welcome Sheila to the show. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Melanie, for having me. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. So, Sheila has an incredible story. You're going to be so inspired when you hear what she's gone through, what she's accomplished as a woman in business and corporate America, all the pitfalls, the ups and downs. And she's just written a book that talks about her journey and also things that she's learned along the way that can be very helpful to you in your own journey in life and career. And I want her to share a little bit about that. But first, Sheila, will you share with our audience your defining moment?
Yeah, this is a great question, Melanie. When I think about defining moments, it's really any experience that reminds you or requires you to get back to your purpose for making a decision, you know? And then the size of that experience is really irrelevant. It's more like the impact of your choice behind that experience. So I've had several of these on the years, get to this stage of life without having some defining moments, both personally and professionally. I don't know if one stands out, but I can reference one that's pressing in my heart at the moment. And that's when you're having to caregive for your parents. They were married for 60 years and life was lifing and it was time. And so having to really support them the way they had supported you and raised you, talk about getting back to your purpose and your values. Yeah, that pulls it out quite a bit.
Oh boy, I feel you. I'm going through that right now. My parents have been married for 63 years and they're both in their 80s going through
Yes,
that. So I feel that. You're right,
not an
it
easy
does.
task.
No, and it does bring out your values and it can bring out a lot of guilt too, because you think, oh,
Yes.
they took such good care of us as a baby, but then
Hmm.
you're trying to take care of a 6 foot toddler who who wants to do their own thing and they don't like losing their
Yeah,
independence. So I understand completely.
yeah, yeah.
And you brought up something about purpose, and I love that. I
Hmm.
think purpose, there's a recent study that I was looking at, and I'm actually writing an article for Forbes about this right now, and it was
Hmm.
shocking. It was this article that they studied like 10,000 people, and they found that 80% of people never find their purpose in life.
Yeah,
80%. That means
yeah,
only 20% of people find meaning in what they're doing. And I think in that corporate world, a lot of people feel threatened when people find their purpose because they think that people are going to leave. And the truth is, when people feel purpose in their position, in their job, in their career, it's quite
hmm,
the opposite. They feel plugged in and they feel like they can be of service to the
exactly.
bigger vision. And, as an entrepreneur, if you don't have purpose, it's hard to have vision. It's hard to attract people to your concept. So tell us a little bit more about your book and how you help people plug into that purpose.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off of what you just said, purpose. And when you think about, there's research that shows on average, we're making 30,000 decisions. And if your decisions are not aligned to your purpose or your values, wow, all those defining moments have just skipped away. Those opportunities have left you. So this book, when I wrote this, this is about having those experiences when you're not sure what to do and you're trying to figure out in this uncertainty. And there's a lot in a corporate environment, any organizational environment, whether you're running your business or you're working for others, a lot of complexities, a lot of chaos, a lot of uncertainty, and you're trying to figure it out. And in that moment, when you're trying to figure it out, especially when the stakes are high, and as executives, they are always high, right?
There's
You're having
always a
to
lot.
really decide, oh, it's always a lot.
Always a
You're
lot
having
on
to
the line.
decide if it's my decision I've got to make, or can I give this to somebody else to make? And when it's yours, it's even higher. And so, how do you get to that decision swiftly and quickly? And that's what this book does. It shows you, based on everything that you've learned along your journey, and how to pull that in. So it's not substituting anything that you've got, it's actually pulling it together so that you can apply your best you in those high stakes moments.
I love it. So tell us, what's the name of the book? Uh, and we know a little bit more about it and who it's for. Tell us a little bit more about that as well.
Yeah, yeah. The name of the book is called Presence: Self-Coaching Strategies to Ignite Your Authentic Leadership. Now, I'm sure people are thinking, well, wait a minute. We hear so many things about presence and executive presence and things like that. This is from the inside, not from the outside. It's more than just how you show up, but what's going on internally for you that's impacting the way you are showing up. So when we talked about values and purpose, all those things that are going in your thoughts, your emotions, and your intuition, that's really what's going to dictate the outward external presence, is how you're processing inside with your internal presence.
So I'm going to pull up your cover here and show everybody. This is so beautiful. This is
Thank
available
you.
as an ebook right now, just launched, and you are already a #1 best-selling author. What? How does that feel? What was that moment like when you found out? Like, what? And you can see the little banner on there right now. It's so exciting.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. Thank you. This book has been in the making, Melanie. It just didn't pop up overnight. I have been noodling with this thing for about 15 years. And even my own fear and hesitation and all the little monkey chatter going on in, my mind was preventing me from just taking a leap of faith and doing it. And finally, something this year says, Sheila, you can pull this together. You can make this happen. It's time. It's like you just know when the timing is right, and the timing is right.
So what was it that made you feel stuck? You said you've been kind of noodling for 15 years. What was it that really stopped you from getting this done sooner?
Oh, I can come up with 100 excuses that may sound good. Time, you know, life, family, whatever.
Hey, it only
But
takes one
none of it.
excuse.
I had a whole trunk of
You're an
them. Okay,
overachiever.
I was carrying around suitcases of excuses. But if I'm going to be honest, Melanie, it was really just me. It
Hmm.
was just an internal fear of not thinking it was going to be right, not thinking it was going to be perfect. Is this going to live up to the standards of what other people expect? It was all about, and I hate to use the word pleasing because I don't think of myself as a people pleaser. I do think of myself as helping to satisfy others, which to me,
You
it's
want
got a
people to
little
get
different
results,
bent. I
right?
want them to yeah, not just please them, but I want them to have something. I want them to be something. It's like
Mhm.
a natural talent of me. And I think sometimes that superpower was really just getting in the way of me applying it for myself.
So what was it when you were going through this process of working with the writer, like, I mean, editors and getting like this book out of you, like extracting what's been in you? It's kind of locked in you. And I often say this is kind
Hmm.
of like a gold mine because
Yeah.
gold doesn't just pop out of the earth. It has to
No.
be extracted or use dynamite, right? It's got to like come out somehow. And sometimes it can feel like this really scary, violent way, of like extracting
Yeah.
your knowledge and your power. And like you think of the price you paid to learn all of this stuff, right? The years, like all the books you've read, all the conferences you've gone to, your education,
Yeah.
formal, informal, like workshops, trainings, like all this you've invested over the years. And this
Yeah.
value of this collective knowledge that you have to share with the world. And I'm always in awe of how brilliant people are and they don't see it, right? And they don't understand the value because they're like, oh wait, yeah, it cost me some time and energy and money to learn this. And now you're giving this incredible gift of knowledge to so many people. I mean, this could literally save somebody a decade, and they could read this in a few hours, and they
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
learn everything and your wisdom and your lessons in a few hours and get that just incredible knowledge and truth. And I just think that's such an incredible gift to give people. So I'm glad you didn't give up. So what was that aha moment for you when you were going through all of this process and trying to put it all together and you're like, this is, you declared, you said, this is it, I'm doing it. That was it. I think commitment is number one. But where was that
Mhm.
moment where things shifted, where you finally realized I can do this? What was that like for you?
Yeah, you're so on point there. I've been through so many different conferences, and they would kind of take that internal flame and kind of like a flint, keep flickering it, trying to get it to light. And I'd participate in those segments, and I'd have a little bit of a flame on it, and I'd walk away, and it went away,
And
right?
you
The
go
flame went
back to
out.
Monday. You go back and Monday hits, get into your little,
Same thing,
your
same
rat
thing.
race
Get
again.
into my
Yeah.
routine, make it. I think that somewhere along attending a conference last year, it was really a spiritual pulling for me. It was something like a whisper from God saying, I've been preparing you right now for this.
Mm.
It was like in that moment, I really don't know how to describe it other than to say, God whispered to me, and I could feel his arm saying, it's now time. And then it just, that fear just, whoosh, it just disappeared.
Oh, I love it.
And
And
then
it's almost like
I
is
became,
that, so was it like a download where you just kind of like you're getting this, like you knew in your
it,
heart, like this
I
is it?
remember it specifically sitting in the chair in the conference and listening and watching others. And I questioned myself, second guessed it. Like, you can't do this, Sheila. Right? I know how to talk myself out of everything. And it was, like I said, a whisper that says, now's the time. And when I heard that, felt that, it was as if, and I don't know, I say it's God. It could have been my dad in heaven. It could have been my mom in heaven. I don't know. But it was as if someone said, it's time. Like this warmth just went through my body. And I said, okay, let's do it.
I'm
It's
ready.
just like, you can't like that was such a force. I had to obey. It was just like, you have to step into this. And it's not, it's not going to be easy, but feeling that warmth just was signaling to me, don't worry.
I think you brought up a great
It's time.
point. Great point, Sheila, because people seem to separate creative energy from spirituality. And the truth is, like,
Mhm.
God is a creator. Like, He created everything, He created all of us.
Yes.
And He had a process day one, day two, right? There was a process for how He created us and everything else. And when we appreciate that and respect that there is a process for everything, if we really break it down, there's a process to write a book, there's a
Right.
process to get a career and a job and advance in that career in the workplace and add
Mhm.
value to people.
Right.
So, what advice would you give to people that are on the fence? Like maybe they've had a book idea in them. I call this like being pregnant with your book baby. It takes a
Yeah.
woman 9 months to have a baby, but it shouldn't take 20, 30 years to give birth to your little book baby. It can actually
No.
be done in a matter of months. I mean, the truth is, you started writing this just a few months ago, and I think it was less than 2 months. You had your entire book ready. And like once you committed and you lit that, you accepted the call. First of all, a lot of people send God's calls to voicemail because of their fear and
Mhm.
doubts, right? And you answered the
Right.
call and you're like, I'm doing it, right? So like what advice would you give to people that are trying to go through this process and thinking about doing it?
I think it really does go back to what we started with is purpose, your why. You know, who, what is it that you want? Why are you even thinking of it? Really go deep, right? Around, um, the book is called Self Coaching Strategies. So I'm going to give you some self coaching questions here. What is your purpose just in general? And what's the value that that can give others? And if it's more for you, then there may be time to rethink that. I don't know. We can have a separate conversation about that. But if you're doing this for a higher reason, just hold on to that every step of the way and trust that. Trust you. My belief is God. Trust God. Whatever your belief is, just trust for you to do. And it didn't matter for me that hundreds of people say, someone needs to hear your story, Sheila. Well, I don't. really believe everybody needs to hear all my stories. But I do believe the purpose of what I'm sharing in this book around a very practical strategy for making decisions, that I have a purpose for. And that's to help you be at your best. And once you get that hook, that purpose, hold on to it for the ride because you're going to need it every step of the way.
Love it. And you have been an incredible mentor to a lot of people, to people that in their jobs, in their lives, with different women, people I personally know. That's how we connected through somebody that had worked with us to write a book and then went to you and talked to you about it. And I saw her come and do her book very quickly as well. It's just been exciting to watch the impact that you've had. Like when you help people get out of their own way and they have the ability to
Yes.
make better decisions, to know that everything we have in life is based on decisions we've made and what we're willing to tolerate, right? And the
Hmm.
level at which we tolerate. So if we have high standards for everything in our life and we don't have it for ourselves, then
Right.
it's definitely going to show in the choices that we make and the results that we
Absolutely.
have in our lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I understand you have a free gift for everybody today as well for
I
watching. Tell us
do.
about that.
Yes, I do. Now, if you head over to my website, which is SheilaCarmichael.com, you will see there is a freebie that will give you something to help you with maybe lining up your purpose. It's called the Reset Values Worksheet. Very easy. I'm all about practical and simplicity. So you can download that and just use it as a starting point to really start getting back to you.
I love it. So SheilaCarmichael.com, check out the website, and you can get her book right now on Amazon. In fact, on the launch today, it's only 99 cents. So go
Yes.
grab a copy. And if you're in the US, you can actually buy a copy for somebody else, which is really cool. And if you want to find out, as her print book is also coming out soon, if you want to pre-order, you can go to her website and get a pre-order copy of
Yes.
the book. If you want bulk copies, this is a great gift to give your boss or to give your coworkers. If you've got a group of people in the workplace that feel like you're at the water cooler and they're complaining about their boss or they're complaining about their job or they're blaming their spouse or somebody for their life, and you're like, hey, I got the perfect gift for you, right? And I love giving books as gifts because it gives people hope. It's like the greatest gift you can give another human being. And I love to say that we're curating hope dealers. Amen. Like we got
Yeah.
enough dope dealers out there. These are hope dealers. And it's
Hope
like
dealers.
the greatest gift you can give somebody. So take advantage of this. Get a couple of copies and pre-order some print copies if you know some people that are struggling with their purpose, or maybe they're just not thrilled with their job and their, the way their life is like turning out, and they don't know what's going, like, why is
Hmm.
my life so upside down? I remember going through that when I went through a lot of loss, and I'm in my head, I was going, why is my life so messed up? I'm not a drug addict. I'm not an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, all these judgments against myself and like why I'm not doing these things. So why is my life falling apart? Right. And I'm going to church and
Yes.
I'm trying to be a good person. And like, why is my life falling apart? And I realize that everything comes down to that relationship that you have with yourself and how the
Hmm.
self-worth issues that we all have. And, you know, wounds and childhood traumas and things that create doubt that make us like take certain decisions and accept and tolerate certain situations that we shouldn't. And then we think if we
Yeah.
have those boundaries that somehow it's going to make people go away. Like if we have a
Yeah.
boundary with our boss, they're going to fire us. Or if we have a boundary with our spouse or our partner, they're going to leave us. And so I think this is something that's so critical for people to understand. If something isn't in alignment, it's like you go to a
Hmm.
chiropractor and they crack you back into shape. This is like an emotional chiropractor, right? It's like having that mentorship and that ability to guide somebody to, like, you can see very clearly where they're not aligned. And
Yes.
there's a great saying, if you can't read the label if you're inside the jar. And sometimes you just need
Mm.
that outside perspective of what you think you're
Yes.
coming out a certain way, behaving a certain way, and it's not landing with people. And maybe you see
Yes.
this at work, or you guys are watching this, you're seeing this, and you resonate with what we're talking about here today. So I encourage you to get in touch with
Yeah.
Sheila. Sheila, what's the best way for people to reach out to you and follow you or get in touch with
Yeah.
you?
Definitely my website. That's probably, a great way. I'm not the biggest social media person, so I'll tell you, LinkedIn is my number one source. If you're on LinkedIn, let's connect. I love having connections with folks, and on LinkedIn, you can go to my website. Um, and I'm so sorry. You said something that really resonated for me. Um, Getting back to you. So I know every book isn't for everybody, but everything you just said described who's it exactly for. You're smart, you're intelligent, you know that you're living a good life, you're trying to do the right thing, you're just trying to figure it out. Like, that's it right there. This
And
is to
it's
help you
usually
get
it's
back on
something
track.
small. Yeah. And it's usually we
Yeah.
all think it's this big thing. And it really it's like
No.
when we're running, think about it. We don't trip over a big rock because if it's a big old rock, we're gonna see it. It's those little pebbles that get under your skin, that get under your shoe, or those little things you slip on the gravel, like when you're running fast and you slip on gravel. So we want to help people clear those rocks and those blocks so that they
Yes,
can run and go fast and go like, yes, I'm going to live this life that I'm meant to live.
exactly.
And sometimes people create their own boulders or rocks, and sometimes they trip on other people's stuff. And so it's just a matter of getting
Yeah.
that realignment, being number one, aware of it, and then having someone else help you figure out what
Yes.
that is. So I'm just grateful that you're out there, that you finished your book, that you have such a heart
Yeah.
for serving so many other people and being this mentor to people in such a beautiful way. And I know you're being blessed because of it, because when you give from your heart, it always comes back to you for sure. You're definitely a
Yes.
go-giver.
Yes.
Um,
Thank
and
you.
and I will say too, it's really important for you guys that want to write a book, you've got to write the book people want to read, not just the book you want
Mhm.
to write. We get a lot of people that come in and want to write memoirs and publish their private diaries. I mean, no one wants to read your diaries, okay? So it's like, even if you think they're juicy, people like when you write a book, you've got to write it for your reader. When you start a
Right.
business, you're starting a business because you're serving one client and then you have more clients. When you're speaking on a stage, you're serving that audience and you're talking about what they want to hear, something that solves a
Mhm.
problem for that audience, not just about us. So if we get focused on ourselves, we shut down. We don't make the right decisions. We don't get our books done. And when we stop focusing on us and we put that spotlight on the people we're helping, then the answers
Yes.
become clear, the intentions become clear, the words come to us, and everything becomes self-evident. And it really can be that simple. And sometimes people just get stuck in their own stuff. I get it. So if y'all want help writing your book and you want us to kind of evaluate where you are, meet you where you are, we've got a lot of support
Mhm.
for that. Just go to our website, mydefiningmoments.com. You can fill out an application. We want to know more about you, your ideas, and really just kind of how you want to put yourself out there. Is it books? Is it speaking? Is
Yes.
it coaching, mentorship? Like there's lots of different things that you can do to serve other people. And writing a book is an amazing way to generate a separate income stream, right? Even if you're working a full-time job, like my dad is earning a couple of $1,000s a month off his books, and he's in his 80s and he's, still not retired. But he donates all of that money back to his church because that's what he wants to be
Yeah.
known for. So those are things to think about as you guys are
Mhm.
going through. So I really want to thank you, Sheila, for being here today. I know
Oh,
that you inspired our audience. And is there anything else you want to share with our audience today?
I say if you've got that book and it's kind of simmering inside, let's get that baby cooked. Let's get it out. Contact Defining Moments. They've got a wonderful team that will help you pull it out from the inside and make it happen. So thank you so much, Melanie, you and your team. I so appreciate you all.
Oh,
And
I'm
I
so
look
thrilled.
forward
I
to
mean,
connecting with folks.
absolutely. Thank you so much, Sheila. And thank you for being such a great student. Like you showed up, you did all the work. I mean, you got this done in like 90 days, girl. Like you go for it. I'm so proud of you. So it's been, it's like you've been pregnant with it for 15 years and it's like now it's done and it's like, woo!
It took
Hallelujah.
90 days to deliver.
I know, isn't that it's like labor pains. But if there's nothing like it, and it really is, I'm a mom too. I have kids, and I'll tell you when you get that book and you hold it in your hands, it was just, I remember the first time my dad, when I wrote my first book, when he walked in the door, he sat down and held the book. And he did that to my kids, right? He walked in the door and he grabbed the baby, right? And he just sat and he looked at this book and he was just so proud of me and so in awe because he always wanted to write a book. And now all these years later, I helped my dad write 4 books, so it's like this is what's
Wow.
so fun. It's kind of like tattoos. You do one and you want more, right? Like you write you write one book and now you go, oh, okay, that wasn't so hard. It only took me 15 years. Oh, now I know I can do it sooner. I'm going to put another book out there. And that is what happens. People like they learn the process and then they get out of their own way, and it's amazing what comes out of people when they
It's
when they just
amazing.
allow things to come through them and be that receiver. So I love it. I love
Yes.
it. Well, congratulations on being a best-selling author,
Thank you.
getting this book baby out there to the world. I know it's going to resonate with so many people, and I just really applaud you for the difference that you're making in so many people's lives. Thank you, Sheila. Good job. Good job. Let's see
Thank
some fire
you.
emojis out there, feedback for Sheila. And if you guys wouldn't mind, when you do get a copy of her book, please go and leave an honest review because that really helps our authors resonate with more people who see how you experience the book as well. So thank you so much for supporting Sheila today. And congratulations, Sheila. Can't wait to hear more about your success. Please come back and let us know how things are going, okay?
I'm already brewing a second book.
I knew it. I could tell. I could tell.
I'm already brewing a second book. Ah,
Well,
thank you, Melanie.
congratulations. And we're so excited for you. Okay, everyone. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.